What's up? What's happening? Just this thing a little bit. How you doing? Welcome to the second episode of Cycling Through Your Life. Okay, first, I'd like to thank everybody that checked out the first episode. We're small, but we're mighty. We're not worried about that. We're not worried about it. Sometimes, coming in front of the camera on YouTube, I don't know if anybody out there, I know there are, that have been up on stage and the lights are on you. You're the only one on stage, but the thing about being on stage like that is that you can't see the audience. So you don't know if the theater is empty or filled. The only way you know is the response that you get sometimes, right? Because the lights, bam, it's just lighted out everything. So that's what it's like sometimes, being on YouTube and wondering if anybody's even checking you out. But it is what it is. So this is cycling through. It's been an interesting week. I've been going some places, going out. That's part of my thing this summer, to go out, interact with the world. So I made a recording earlier. I don't know if I'll use it in this one, but it has to do with dancing. That's what I'm going to talk about this time. Dancing. And connect that at the end to something else. I've been going to these events where I've seen people, seniors, just dancing, And I remember back in the day when, I used to go out to these clubs and that was our thing. We used to go and dance. We'd have these marshmallow shoes on. You don't know about that. And we'd be dancing, energy, man, like for days. And over time, things just kind of waned, But there were some people that still dance. They continue to dance. Even today, they have the house sessions all over New York where a DJ will set up in a club or something. And all of these seniors will come and they'll dance like they did 30, 40 years ago, man. And it's at first I was like, man, this is kind of crazy. But then I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. And the dance is such a metaphor, for life and for staying engaged. It's crazy. It's like for me, it's like bicycling for me or cycling for me, but or music, which I did when I was younger and I still do. And dancing is like that for some people. It connects them with who they were and who they are. Regardless of what else happened in their life, they have this thing that they did when they were young, and they continue to do it. Because in your mind, you don't really age in your mind. You still see the world through those eyes of whoever you are, I guess, inside. That observer, that person, that entity, it doesn't age. It just stays there. And it's checking everything out. And then he says, come on, get up and do something. But your body says, oh no. But your mind is like ready to go. But your body's like, I don't think I can jump that high anymore. But anyway, maybe it's just a mind thing. But that's the thread. That's the thing that keeps us connected to who we are or who we want to be, right? So last Saturday I was in New Jersey with a friend of mine. Took me to see this Latin band, and it was great, man. And people, salsa people, they always be dancing, man. The music it's like the clave, man. You gotta have the clave and you gotta have the dancer. That's it. You just can't have Latin music without that. So yeah. And so they had the dancers and the people were dancing, sometimes the young people don't be doing the salsa like they used to no more. But the older people, man, they be getting it. And no matter how slow they walk in and sit down, when they hit that floor, it's like time stands still, and they just go into it, man. And the better you get at salsa, it's almost like the less you got to do. You just got to do the main things, and especially if you're the man, you just got to hit the spots and turn the woman, and just be there for her to just catch her, right? And that's another beautiful metaphor for like relationships and roles that people play, and maybe one is dominant and one is subordinate, but that's not important. What's important is the dance, right? And so, yeah, that was beautiful to see. And then yesterday, I went to Jazzmobile over here in New York, and so many seniors show up, man. So many seniors, and sometimes it's heartening and it's disheartening at the same time because so many of us are just out of shape and just really out of shape and tired. I guess that's the word you could say. You're just tired. These little steps that people had to walk on was such a challenge for some of us. It was just wow. But we were there. We was out there. But there's some dancers that always show up there. Always show up, and it's so elegant. I think I got some footage of that I'll probably show up. But yeah, that was just beautiful. So the cycling through part is this, right? We need something that we did in our youth that we continue to do through the course of our lives, right? And that's the thing that connects us to who we were, to who we are, and who we intend to be. Say, there was a couple at the salsa thing, and they came in, they were very dignified, very quiet, and main thing I noticed right away, they were both in shape, the man and the woman, very physically present and in shape. And they were like a couple that's been together a while. Even though they look youngish, but you knew they were together. They sat at their table, they didn't do a lot of talking, to each other. They just sat. I think sometimes they held hands, sometimes they didn't. And they just observed. But then when a song that the band played that they liked, they would get up and dance. And their dance was something to behold. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. They were just moving as one, going back and forth, and it was just, I was captivated. I was mesmerized. Of course, I picked up my camera and I started to record them, and I just record. I was just like, this is beautiful. The movements, the everything was just, I don't know. It was just beautiful. And towards the end of the night, as the band was packing up, I looked around, and the guy that was, I thought they left, but the guy that was dancing, he was right standing behind me just about. And I was like, oh, brother, man, that was wonderful, man. Is that your wife? He said, yeah. I think he said we've been married for 39 years. It might have been 29 or 39. When I looked at them, it probably was 29, but it could have been 39 because they were in great shape, right? They were in great shape, and they moved and acted like it. So I'm gonna say 29, but it might have been 39. And he shook my hand, and I said, you guys, I said, is that your wife? He said, I said, that was beautiful. I said, I loved it. I said, that was wonderful. It was just beautiful to see. And he understood that. Of course he understood it, because that was his life. This is what he had built. This is something they had built together, and it was beautiful. And even in the relationship, it was that thread that I could see that kept them together, that kept reminding them of who they were. And that's what, that's how you cycle through. That's how you get from one phase in your life to another, right? You go through to something new, but you keep what makes you you. Ha! How about that? You go through to something new, but you keep what makes you you. And sometimes, hopefully, it's something creative, something that you do physically, something that you could look at yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, I can still do that. You know, I can still do that salsa, or I can still do the hustle. We used to do the hustle, or I can still do the freestyle on the floor when that bass drops. You know, I can still like do my thing. I can't do it like I used to, but I can still do it. And that's the idea. Cycling through. I'm gonna get to the bicycling. I'll be on the bicycling. You know, I'll probably just throw some images of me riding because I still ride in the mornings. You know, but I didn't ride this morning because I had to get out here. This is the park over here. I'm not gonna say which park, but I'm in the park, and at a certain time, the dog, they use this section of the park as like a dog walk park. And so it gets kind of hectic, and I just wanted to get in here early. And I love, you know, being up early and just being outside, listen to the birds. But anyway, that's the deal for this time. Cycling through your life. Keep that thread, keep that connection. That helps. That might be the golden thread that gets us, you know, gets us there, without becoming jaded or tired. You know, you have to keep it moving. You gotta keep it moving. All right. Oh, one more thing. There was a couple I saw one morning. After I ride, I come and sit up here sometimes, or out here, and I drink some coffee or whatever. And there was a couple. James, I remember his name because it's James Taylor. James, and he likes to be called Anthony, and his woman, Pat. James is in a wheelchair, and Pat is with him. And they come out and they sit and they talk. And I looked away and I looked back, and they were dancing. James and Pat was dancing. They was slow dancing. They was love dancing. I was like, wow, look at that, right? Look at that. Look at that. Brother was in a wheelchair a second ago, and he's up here dancing with his woman just like that. She's loving it, and he's loving it. And see, those are the things. Man. I ended up talking to them and interviewing them. I may put his interview on here, but I just may do a whole separate thing. But anyway, that's I just wanted to throw that in, and just to see those things in action in the real world, that people, they relate to things that they connect with in their youth, and they're able to continue it throughout. So thanks again for the folks that have checked it out. Thanks again for the folks that kind of like the page. I know I got got some subscribers going, which is beautiful. Please, if you look at this, subscribe, like, share it to somebody who you think might like it. You know, just that's my thing for today. Like I said, thanks again for the people who view this. I appreciate it. Thanks for the people who liked it. Give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Thanks to Kathy who left a comment. I appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Take care.